And today on the show, I felt led to talk with you about some things I've been writing in my journal lately, about how I've been feeling. And I believe if I've been feeling this way, there's other people out there that are feeling similar. And this feeling that I've been having lately, keeping it 100% real, is this feeling of overwhelm. Like I'm trying to juggle a gazillion balls at the same time. I'm trying to be really good at all the things. And sometimes it just feels really hard. And the word of the year that I chose was ease. And the reason I chose that word is because I'm craving more of that in my life because it does feel hard at times to try to do all the things. And I believe in coaching so much. I'm that coach for a lot of other people. And I have my own personal coach. And this has been a topic that we've been diving into in my life because I have a tendency to want to take on a lot of things at the same time. And I like variety in my life. It's something I actually really value. I'm a multi-passionate person. And since having my son, I've really realized that I want to be even more intentional with my time than I've ever been because I want to be a really present mom and I want to be really engaged in his life and be there mentally, not be with the energy of I'm rushing from thing to thing. I'm checking this box. I feel like a hot mess. I don't want to live my life like that. And, I'm showing myself grace because I've never done this motherhood thing before. 7 months ago, I was still pregnant with my son. I had never known what it was like to be a mom. I didn't know how to handle being a mom with being a wife and running a business and helping my clients and doing a podcast and doing all the things. So I know I'm in this learning stage and you may be able to relate to that. There may be something new that has come into your life recently. And then you find yourself feeling overwhelmed. And you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Or you feel like that at times. That's how I feel. I'm like, what am I doing again? I just had to get on and do some 1099s for a business. And I'm like, what am I doing? I've never done this before. And it just is, it adds to that feeling of overwhelm because I'm doing all these different things that are new to me. And I'm trying to juggle all these different balls. And I'm also trying to be better at everything. And I feel like if you're listening to the show, that's the kind of person that you are too. You want to be better at all the things that you are doing. So let's go back to this word ease that I've been inviting into my life. So I've just been, I feel like talking to God about this, how do I create more of this in my life? And one of the things that has been coming up for me is creating more systems in my life versus just where I'm reacting to a request or a request and it's something that I have to do repeatedly, but I don't have a system around. It serves me energetically to create a system around things. And I have seen where I have a tendency to not want to do that because I feel like the initial work up front is a lot to create the system. But it pays off in the long run. Let me give you an example. I used to talk a lot about on the show that it would serve you to create blocks of time where you're doing set things, for your household to keep it running. Because I know that's something that a lot of us are doing, but a lot of us aren't intentional about. Some of us are really intentional about our work, but we're not really intentional about our household. And here on the show, we're trying to be intentional about our entire life. So an example would be blocking off a time that you're doing the keep it up cleaning in your house, or you're getting the groceries, or you're doing your meal prepping, or you're, that kind of stuff, the laundry, the basic things that you need to do to keep your household running. You have set blocks of time that you're doing that. Why are you doing that? So that you don't have to think about it so much, so that you don't have to expend so much energy to it. You want a system to reduce the amount of energy that you are thinking about the thing. People that are very successful at whatever they do, they value systems. They value being intentional with their energy. And this has a lot to do with what we decide to think about in our minds. So for example, people like Steve Jobs that may only wear, I know he's passed, but may have only wore a type of shirt, a black kind of top, right? And it's only that thing that he wore. I've heard this from other people where they only wear a white t-shirt, or they don't want to spend time thinking about what they're wearing. So they want to conserve their mental energy. And that allows them to have more energy for other things they want to focus on because they've created a system around that thing that they have to do every day, that they find themselves doing, like getting dressed. So it's got me thinking about how can I create systems around things that I'm regularly doing so that life can feel easier and it doesn't feel as hectic. But again, remember the thing that holds me back is like creating the system to begin with can take a lot of time. It's kind of like if you were to hire someone, training that person up front may take a lot of time. It's going to save you time in the long run. So I think about that with even my meal planning, like getting meals, keeping it real, going to the grocery store, getting all the meals, creating healthy items that align with my vision and who I want to be. Like that can feel overwhelming to me. And it takes a lot of my time each week. So what would serve me is to create a system around that. I used to have a system around that, but then life got really busy and I just let it fall to the wayside. So it's important that not only do you create the system, but that you also follow through on the system. So that's what I'm trying to do is like, I'm going back to things that I knew served me well in the past. I'm going back to moments in my life where I felt peace, where I felt like things were easy. Like, what was I doing then? What was I doing when my energy was my highest? One of my coaches recently asked me that. She said, when did you feel your best? And I told her I felt my best when I was living in Beaufort, South Carolina. And it wasn't just living in that space because she dived into it more with me. I told her characteristics of what was happening in my life when I was living in that space. And I told her I was regularly active. I had a really good community. I regularly met with people and I talked about my dreams and my goals. And I felt like I had the space to be creative. I had a lot of systems in place around, how I ran my household, how I ran my business. And I felt really good and I was taking care of myself. So she was like, well, tell me about your life now. What are you doing those things? I'm like, I feel like I don't have really any systems in place. Like and this is because a major shift has happened in my life and it makes perfect sense. I'm going to acknowledge and validate myself right now. Like that journey into motherhood, it can be really difficult. So makes sense. I feel this way, but now it's time. It's time for a new vision. It's time for new systems that align with my life now. So as we were chatting through this, it got me thinking about, okay, so I need to bring back these systems and apply them to my life now as it is. And I also need to have a space where I can regularly meet with people and talk about my dreams and goals. That sense of community. That's when I felt my best, when I had that. And I feel like now in my life, I don't really have that as much. And that's a big reason why we decided to offer the Intentional Mastermind that starts on February 5th. You can sign up. It's $52. Come on now. $52. You will not find any mastermind that is of quality at that price. It's thousands to participate in mastermind. So people are like, why are you offering it so low? We're trying to make it easy. So we're not putting a lot into it, keeping it real. It's just a space for you to go to. You're going to share your vision or your goals. Even if you're not clear, you can just share one goal that you're working on. You're going to hear from other people. We're going to celebrate each other. We're going to talk about our progress. We're just going to have this space for us to share what's on our heart in a sense as it relates to our goals. It makes me think about the times I would meet with my friends for coffee and we would just chit chat and be like, hey, this is what I'm working on. I'm so excited I made this progress. And we would cheer each other on. That's it. That's all it is. But it's of so great value to you because I've seen everybody I know who has higher energy, who is proud of their lives, have a really good sense of community. Like they have groups that they're a part of. And you see this, if you look at the Blue Zone's research, one of the number one factors as it relates to longevity and well-being is a strong sense of community. Yet because of the way our world is nowadays, people don't focus on building community. They focus on just trying to stay above the water, trying to keep maintaining the basic things. Whereas like one of the things that you need to have a part of your life is that sense of community. And that's something I'm realizing with myself. Like, why have I dropped from having community? Because I've gotten so busy and I'm trying to handle all the other basic stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, that can go on the wayside or go in the back burner. But now I realize like, no, Ange, if we look back and we see the times that you thrived, that was an essential ingredient that you need to bring back into your life. So that's why I'm offering that. So if you want to be a part of it, you can sign up. You can even sign up after it's even started if you want to. I'll put the link in the details section of this episode. Okay. And it's simple too. It's easy to do. Someone asked me recently, they're like, I don't know if I'm really interested, but I don't know if right now is the right time for me. And I said, it's simple. Like the what we're asking you to do is just simply show up and share what's on your heart. You don't have additional like homework and all this other stuff you need to do. No, just show up and share what's on your heart, talk about your dreams, and of course, take action. We're going to encourage you to track it, but this is not something to add more stress to your plate. It's something to add more peace and ease to your life and add more community and encouragement. So I know that's something I'm doing to bring more ease into my life. The other thing that got brought up recently with one of my friends is I've been really diving into the kind of school I want Zion to go to, the way I want to set up the house for him. And I'm really leaning towards a Montessori approach. And then there's my friend who she's a retired school teacher. She told me about another approach and I forget what it's called, but she was like, Ange, if you can blend both these, I think that's a good way to go. And the other approach is more like Zen focused environment, natural things in the environment, like wood and plants and all that. So I haven't dived into it, so I can't speak on it very well because I don't know much about it yet. But as we were chatting through it, she said, what I've learned over the years is that when people learn best, or these kids and people in general, learn best when their environment is orderly. Everything has a set place that it goes because it helps the kids' energy. Think about it, helps our energy. Like, when my house is a hot mess or things are all over the place, I don't feel good. It affects my energy. I feel like I lack peace. Things don't feel easy. It feels harder. So I know I want to bring that order back into my life. And then she said the other thing is having these natural things in our environment, nature, that brings our energy up. And she said having lots of playtime. That is crucial to their learning and development. And it made me think and mine too. When I need more play in my life. But then, the thing that happens to us is we get overwhelmed because we're like, well, how can I add something to my life? I already feel overwhelmed trying to juggle everything. Well, this is a sign that you need to take some things away. And you need to bring in the things that are crucial for you to feel your best. What are those things? There's community. There's time for you to play and be creative. I wrote a poem yesterday. It felt so freaking good. I'll read it to you soon, sometime on the show. It felt so good to have that space to be creative. I'm writing a children's book right now. It's in the illustration phases, is what I'm saying. And it's got me so excited. It's like me playing. That brings my energy up. So think about this. I got to wrap this up because I got to go pick up my son. But the things that can bring more ease into our lives, order, first off, systems around things we do repeatedly. That's going to make it so we don't have to think about it as much. And we're going to be proud of ourselves that we have something in the flow. So systems around your household stuff. We can dive into that later and more episodes because as I go through this journey, I'll be sharing it with you. Systems, ordering your environment. This is related to systems. Play, time for you to play, and the sense of community is the biggest thing. And if you feel like you don't have that in your life and you want to be around people that are going to support you and encourage you, and you want to have a space where you can track your progress that is key to you staying on the path, then joining the Intentional Mastermind will serve. Okay, so those are the things I'm adding into my life to bring more ease. I'll keep you updated on the journey. I hope this has got you thinking about what you need to create more ease and peace in your life. I hope you have an awesome day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.